the biggest thing here is that John Connor is missing. That's the big problem that I have with this. John Connor is missing from the panel. I mean, you didn't have Edward Furlong at the panel. Like that's a serious misstep. I mean, fine if you want to have him like in a small part. I mean, it sucks, but it's all that stuff can be digestible if you had brought him in on the. It's like you don't even want to bring it. It's like, I know why, because you're afraid that he would overshadow the characters of the movie. That's why you didn't bring Edward Furlong onto the panel, because you were scared that he would overshadow, just like Luke Skywalker would overshadow. Why don't you finish these characters' stories first and then kill them off? Like, finish the story, let them live a good life, and then have new characters in there. Like, you don't have to destroy the old characters just to create new ones. You can have them overlap. That's what Marvel did. That's what, I mean, constantly they're doing in the MCU, and it's a kind of a cool thing. Like, you're able to kind of overlap a character here with this, and then phase someone out here or whatever. And it's just, anyway, it's like that's something that should be kind of, I don't know, thought of maybe. You know, the importance of John Connor, the importance of the character development between these two. In Terminator 2, there's a huge development between John and Linda, between John and Sarah.
Come here. I said it was okay.
John, it was stupid of you to go there. God damn it, you have to be smarter than that. You almost got yourself killed. What were you thinking? You cannot risk yourself, even for me. Do you understand? You're too important. Do you understand?
But I had to get you out of that place. I'm sorry.
I didn't need your help. I can take care of myself.
What's wrong with your eyes?
Nothing.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here again. This has been the Fanatics of Film. Welcome back to the channel here. Just doing a quick thought process on the Terminator, the current situation with Terminator. Hopefully, I have some new light to shed on this. By the way, this is Terminator 2, the time-lapse black and white speed drawing. The artist is Quentin Bryant. I guess Quentin Bryant is his name. So amazing stuff, amazing work that he's doing here. And please check out the channel. I'm going to leave the link in the description there, and subscribe to him. Really amazing stuff. Do you remember when the first viewing of T2 occurred? Do you remember that the first time you saw it? I could tell you serious details of the theater I went to the first time I was in the mall. My friends, I saw it 3 times with my friends in the theater each, and every time we snuck into the theater because we were too young. We were not old enough for R-rated films, and they really kind of tried to enforce that back then. I remember being dumbstruck by the red glow at the beginning of the film, the red glow of the explosion, and in awe of the epic quality and hugeness of the screen and the size of this world that was created here. This was an entire new, daunting, yet extremely curious fictional parallel world that I was able to jump into. Terminator 2 made me fall in love with this world, but even more importantly, the action genre. The first thing we see when it fades in, Brad Feidel's unmistakable, unforgettable, haunting score is teased for only a few seconds. Feidel also did Terminator 1, the same music, which is why I think it's really consistent with everything. There's more production, of course, involved because they had a bigger budget and everything, but the point that I'm making here is that the continuity is there with the music. So, and that's, I think, one of the most important things to remember, especially when I actually love Hans Zimmer as a composer, but him doing Genesis actually really messed it up. It didn't feel like Terminator at all because the music wasn't even close to what it was. So hopefully they will get Brad Fiedel to do the fetal position and just get. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully we'll hear his music in all of its glory to portray Terminator the right way, portray Terminator the way it was meant to be, the way it was supposed to be. Fiedel also did he also did the music to T1, Johnny Mnemonic, and True Lies. So laughter of children in a playground slowly fade into a similar scene, only the entire landscape is charred and littered with skulls. The blue light emanates from everywhere, allowing the fire to be accentuated in this brilliant action scene. So that's the contrast between the red and the blue is really actually awesome the way it's done. The score is filled with unrest, jabs of dissonant color tones designed to create intrigue, discomfort, and it's incredibly gripping. Still to this day, still gripping. Linda Hamilton's monologue brings us to John's scared, weathered face and fades into a burning playground. In today's standards, this might even have looked down upon or even cheesiness. I believe that it's timeless. I really believe that scene is. When the semi-grill slams shut like a door, I think that the precious factor is to be noticed here is that we have no idea what it is until the truck engine starts driving away. I will never forget the moment that Arnold steps out of the bar and Bad to the Bone starts playing as an almost but not quite comical interpretation of the story, almost not taking itself too seriously, almost poking fun, but not quite there. Robert Patrick, the T-1000, shows up with mysteriousness. So anyway, that's the farthest I got on this, and I just wanted to kind of, so in general, when it comes down to it, this last trailer was horrible. People hated it. Wasn't a fan of this last trailer. To me, I mean, there's a lot of speculation happening. Of course, we all know John Con. I mean, if you're up on this, Edward Furlong is supposed to be in there. I mean, I was looking through. Of course, he wasn't in the panel, and then, of course, Edward Furlong is in the movie. He's listed under IMDb, so they just list him there. So, and apparently, of course, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, of course, that he's going to be killed in the beginning of this new movie. Which is fine, I guess. But once again, you're killing the one of the male protagonists in order to have, in order to fulfill the feminist agenda, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's fine if you want to do that, but you're just alienating people, and it's kind of weird, I guess. Because you said, in the panel, the Comic-Con panel, Tim Miller says specifically, well, Linda Hamilton's or Sarah Connor's character story was left alone and hadn't been finished yet. This is a story that hadn't been finished. I agree completely. I love Linda Hamilton in the Terminator movies, and I think her story did definitely deserved an ending. I just don't feel like it deserved an ending to have John die right at the beginning of the movie. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't know. It just feels a little too much like it feels too much like you're trying too hard to appease people who don't like John, who wouldn't like John because he's a man, maybe. And so that's why, anyway. It's just silly. It's just silly that we've come to this point, and the importance of John Connor, the importance of the character development between these two. In Terminator 2, there's a huge development between John and Linda, between John and Sarah, mother and son, and it's actually really great. I mean, there's this whole thing that goes through and talking about how the Terminator can be a better father than men, which is actually kind of a funny feminist trope. Well, yeah, it's actually, yeah.
All right, good. Now do me. Give me 5.
Watching John with the machine, it was suddenly so clear. The Terminator would never stop. It would never leave him. And it would never hurt him, never shout at him or get drunk and hit him or say it was too busy to spend time with him. It would always be there, and it would die to protect him. Of all the would-be fathers who came and went over the years, this machine, was the only one who measured up. In an insane world, it was the sanest choice.
But it's like, anyway, there's a moment where she talks about, she's talking, it won't ever hurt, It won't ever hurt you, won't ever get drunk and call you bad names or hit you or whatever. So right now, this is the best choice. Well, it's like, okay, so you're a great mother. It's a jig and jab back at her on that. Okay, so you're a great mom then to him? Like, I don't know that you've been a great mom. So anyway, whatever. It's just silly. It's a crazy thing. And one of those things that you just have to kind of spill over. But my 2 cents on this, it's going to be interesting to see the box office numbers. That'll be the most interesting thing, because there's been so much bad press about the last Terminator movies, and of course they've just bombed in the box office, at least from what I remember. I could be wrong, but I don't study box office numbers like Odin does. The biggest thing here is that John Connor is missing. That's the big problem that I have with this. John Connor is missing from the panel. I mean, you didn't have Edward Furlong at the panel. Like, that's a serious misstep. It's like, oh, I know why, because you're afraid that he would overshadow the characters of the movie. That's why you didn't bring Edward Furlong onto the panel, because you were scared that he would overshadow, just like Luke Skywalker would overshadow. Why don't you finish these characters' stories first and then kill them off? Like, finish the story, let them live a good life, and then have new characters in there. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a like, subscribe, and share. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining me. My name is Ben, and this is the Fanatics of Film.